Listen to me, or lose everything.
Welcome to Fairy Tales English Journey. Get ready for a magical adventure. Today we will explore a wonderful story about a golden bird, a brave prince, and a very clever talking fox. This beautiful tale will help you learn English while discovering a world filled with exciting quests, shiny treasures, and important life lessons. Learning English through fairy tales is fun and easy. As you listen to the story of the golden bird, pay attention to the new words and phrases. We will travel to a faraway kingdom where magic is real. Our journey will teach us about following instructions, trusting good friends, and finding true wisdom along the way. Once upon a time, there was a rich king who had a beautiful garden. In the middle of this garden stood a very special tree. This tree did not grow regular fruit. Instead, it grew apples made of solid gold. Every day the king loved to walk in his garden and count his shiny golden apples. One morning the king noticed that one golden apple was missing. He was very angry and sad. The king ordered his gardeners to watch the tree all night. The oldest son of the king decided to keep watch first. He sat under the tree, but soon he felt very tired and fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, another golden apple was gone. The king was furious. Then the second son offered to watch the tree. He promised to stay awake all night. However, when midnight came, the second son also closed his eyes. He fell asleep under the stars. By morning light, a third golden apple had completely disappeared. Finally, the youngest son asked to watch the tree. The king did not think he could do it, but he agreed. The youngest son sat under the tree and forced his eyes to stay open. Just as the clock struck midnight, he heard a sound. A beautiful bird with feathers made of pure gold flew down. The golden bird grabbed an apple with its beak. The youngest son quickly shot an arrow at the bird. The arrow missed the bird but knocked loose one golden feather. The bird dropped the apple and flew away into the dark night. The young prince picked up the glowing golden feather and brought it to the king. The king called his wise men to look at the golden feather. The wise men said the feather was worth more than the entire kingdom. The king decided he must have the golden bird. He sent his oldest son to find it. The oldest son walked into the forest feeling very proud and sure of himself. Soon, the oldest son saw a red fox sitting by the road. The oldest son raised his bow to shoot the fox. The fox suddenly spoke to him. The talking fox begged the prince not to shoot. The fox promised to give the prince good advice on how to find the beautiful golden bird. The fox told the oldest son that he would reach a village with 2 inns. One inn would be bright and loud. The other inn would be dark and quiet. The fox warned the prince to stay in the quiet inn. The oldest son laughed at the fox. He ignored the advice and walked away. The oldest son reached the village and saw the 2 inns. The bright inn had music, dancing, and delicious food. The quiet inn looked old and boring. The oldest son forgot the warning from the fox. He went into the bright inn, joined the loud party, and completely forgot about his quest for the golden bird. Time passed, and the oldest son never returned home. The king became worried. The second son volunteered to find his brother and the golden bird. He walked into the same forest and met the very same talking fox. The fox asked the second son not to shoot and offered him the exact same wise advice. The second son also ignored the talking fox. He walked to the village and saw the 2 inns. He heard the music coming from the bright inn. He saw his older brother laughing inside. The second son decided to join the fun. He also forgot about the king and the quest for the golden bird. The youngest son waited for his brothers to return. When they did not come back, he asked the king for permission to go. The king loved his youngest son very much and feared for his safety, but the youngest son was determined. He packed his bags and walked bravely into the deep green forest alone. Just like his brothers, the youngest son met the talking fox. The youngest son was kind and did not raise his bow. He listened carefully when the fox offered to help. The fox told the youngest prince about the 2 inns. The fox warned him to choose the dark and quiet inn for the night. The youngest son thanked the fox for the wise advice. The fox was pleased with the kind prince. The fox told the prince to sit on his tail. Suddenly, the fox ran faster than the wind. They traveled over hills and through valleys until they reached the village with the 2 very different inns. The youngest son saw the bright inn filled with happy people. He saw his two older brothers singing and dancing inside. It was very tempting to join them. But the youngest son remembered the warning from the clever fox. He turned away from the noise and walked into the dark and quiet inn to rest. The next morning, the talking fox waited for the youngest son outside the quiet inn. The fox was very proud that the prince had followed the instructions. Now, the fox said, they must travel to a large castle. The golden bird lived inside this castle, guarded by many sleeping soldiers in a grand hall. The fox gave the prince clear instructions. The prince must enter the castle and find the golden bird. The bird would be sitting in a plain wooden cage. Next to it would be a beautiful golden cage. The fox warned the prince not to move the bird from the wooden cage to the golden cage. The youngest son sat on the tail of the fox again. They zoomed across the land until they reached the giant castle. The prince walked inside and saw the sleeping soldiers. He stepped quietly past them and found the room with the golden bird. The bird was sitting inside a very simple wooden cage. The prince saw the golden cage nearby. It was so beautiful and shiny. He thought it was wrong to keep such a magnificent bird in an ugly wooden cage. He forgot the warning from the fox. He opened the wooden cage and gently moved the golden bird into the beautiful golden cage instead. The moment the golden bird touched the golden cage, it let out a loud cry. The sleeping soldiers woke up instantly. They grabbed their swords and captured the young prince. They took him to the ruler of the castle. The ruler told the prince he must die for trying to steal the golden bird. The prince begged for his life. The ruler said he would spare the prince on one condition. The prince must find the golden horse that runs faster than the wind. If the prince brought back the golden horse, he could keep the golden bird. The prince felt very sad and walked out of the castle. Outside the castle, the talking fox was waiting. The fox was disappointed but still wanted to help the kind prince. The fox scolded the prince for not following the instructions. The prince apologized and promised to listen better next time. The fox agreed to help him find the magical golden horse in another distant castle. The fox told the prince that the golden horse was kept in a stable, guarded by sleeping men. The fox gave another strict warning. The prince must put an old leather saddle on the horse. He must not use the shiny golden saddle hanging nearby. If he used the golden saddle, terrible things would happen. The prince sat on the tail of the fox, and they traveled incredibly fast. They arrived at the second castle. The prince sneaked into the stable and found the magnificent golden horse. The horse was glowing in the dark. The sleeping guards were snoring loudly. The prince saw the old leather saddle and the golden saddle. The golden saddle was covered in sparkling jewels. The prince thought such a beautiful horse deserved the finest saddle. Once again, he ignored the warning from his furry friend. He picked up the heavy golden saddle and placed it on the back of the golden horse. The horse immediately gave a loud ringing neigh. The guards woke up and captured the prince. They dragged him to the king of that castle. This king also sentenced the prince to a severe punishment. However, the king offered a deal. If the prince could bring him the beautiful princess from the golden castle, he would give the prince the golden horse. The prince left the castle feeling ashamed. The talking fox was waiting for him again. The fox was very angry this time. The prince cried and begged for forgiveness. He swore he would never disobey the fox again. The fox sighed and said he would help the prince find the princess of the golden castle. The fox explained the new plan. The golden castle was far away. The princess went to the bathhouse every night at midnight. The prince must wait for her there. When she arrives, he must give her a kiss. Then she will follow him. But he must not let her say goodbye to her parents. The prince rode on the tail of the fox to the golden castle. He hid near the bathhouse and waited until midnight. The beautiful princess arrived. The prince stepped forward and gave her a gentle kiss. She agreed to go with him but begged to say goodbye to her mother and father one last time. The prince remembered the warning from the fox. He tried to say no, but the princess cried bitter tears. The prince had a soft heart and finally agreed. The moment she entered the room of her parents, the whole castle woke up. The guards caught the prince and threw him into a dark and cold prison cell. The king of the golden castle told the prince he would only be free if he moved a giant mountain. This mountain blocked the view from the castle windows. The prince had to dig away the entire mountain in 8 days. The prince started digging, but the mountain was too huge. He felt completely hopeless. On the 7th day, the talking fox appeared. The fox told the tired prince to rest. The fox said he would move the mountain for him. The prince went to sleep. When he woke up, the mountain was completely gone. The king of the golden castle was amazed and gave the princess to the prince. The prince and the princess left together. The fox met them on the road. The fox said they now had the princess, but they also needed the golden horse and the golden bird. The prince asked how they could get all 3 treasures. The clever fox had a brilliant plan to trick the 2 kings. The fox told the prince to ride to the castle of the golden horse. The prince must present the princess to the king. When the king brings out the golden horse, the prince must mount the horse quickly. Then he must pull the princess up behind him and ride away as fast as the wind. The plan worked perfectly. The prince rode the golden horse with the princess safely behind him. They met the fox, who told them to go to the castle of the golden bird. The prince must stay on the golden horse while he asks for the golden bird. When they hand him the cage, he must escape. The prince followed these instructions exactly. He did not make any mistakes this time. He grabbed the cage with the golden bird and rode away on the golden horse. Now the young prince had the beautiful princess, the magical golden horse, and the precious golden bird. He thanked the talking fox for all the help. The fox asked for one final favor. The fox wanted the prince to cut off his head and paws. The prince was horrified. He refused to harm the friend who had saved his life so many times. The fox said that if the prince would not do it, they must say goodbye forever right now. Before leaving, the fox gave one last piece of advice. He told the prince not to buy any meat from the gallows and not to sit on the edge of a well. The fox then ran into the forest. The prince rode toward his home with his new bride, the horse, and the golden bird. On the way home, the prince passed through the village with the 2 inns. A large crowd was gathered. 2 men were going to be hanged for stealing. The prince saw that the 2 men were his older brothers. He paid a large bag of gold to save their lives and buy their freedom safely. The older brothers joined the young prince. They traveled together until they reached a cool water well. The brothers suggested they sit on the edge of the well to rest and drink. The young prince forgot the final warning from the fox. He sat on the edge of the well to rest his tired legs. Suddenly, the wicked older brothers pushed the young prince backward into the deep well. They stole the princess, the golden horse, and the golden bird. They returned to their father, the king. They claimed they had found all the treasures themselves. The king was very happy, but the princess cried every single day and night. The young prince survived the fall into the well, but he could not get out. The well was deep and the walls were slippery. Just as he was about to give up hope, the talking fox appeared at the top of the well. The fox scolded him again for forgetting the very last important warning. The fox lowered his long tail into the well. The prince grabbed the tail, and the fox pulled him up to safety. The fox told the prince that his brothers were looking for him to kill him. The prince disguised himself as a poor beggar and walked back to the castle of his father. When the prince entered the castle courtyard in his disguise, magic happened. The golden bird began to sing a beautiful song. The golden horse began to eat its food happily. The beautiful princess stopped crying and smiled brightly. The king asked the princess why she was suddenly so happy after being sad for so long. The princess said she felt like her true love had returned. The king ordered the beggar to be brought before him. The young prince took off his disguise. The king recognized his youngest son. The princess told the king the truth about the wicked older brothers. The king punished the older brothers for their crimes. The young prince married the beautiful princess. He became the heir to the kingdom. One day, he went back to the forest and met the talking fox again. The fox begged the prince once more to cut off his head and paws. The prince finally agreed, trusting that his wise friend knew what was best. As soon as the prince did this, the fox transformed into a handsome young man. The young man was actually the brother of the beautiful princess. He had been cursed by a wicked witch many years ago. The spell was finally broken. They all lived happily together in the grand castle for many long years. Thank you for joining Fairy Tales English Journey today. We hope you enjoyed the story of the golden bird and the talking fox. This tale teaches us that listening to wise advice is very important. It also shows that kindness and honesty will always win in the end. Keep practicing your English and stay magical.
Top 10 Best Sentences to Learn English. Number 1. A beautiful, clever red fox with bright, intelligent eyes and a large, fluffy tail. Explanation. This sentence is a great example of how to use a string of descriptive adjectives and a prepositional phrase, with, to create a vivid character portrait. Number 2. The young prince waving goodbye to his worried father, the king, and walking bravely into a deep green forest. Explanation. This sentence demonstrates the use of present participle phrases, waving, walking, and the adverb bravely to describe a character's actions and emotions simultaneously. Number 3. The oldest brother entering a brightly lit, noisy medieval inn filled with musicians and dancing villagers. Explanation. This sentence uses a past participle phrase, filled with, to provide additional detail about a noun, which is a common way to expand sentences in English descriptive writing. Number 4. The talking fox drawing a map in the dirt, explaining the castle layout to the young prince. Explanation. The use of a comma followed by explaining illustrates a common English structure where a second action provides more information about the primary action. Number 5. The young prince taking off a beggar cloak to reveal his green tunic to the amazed king and princess. Explanation. This sentence features the phrasal verb taking off and an infinitive of purpose, to reveal, which are essential components for describing sequences of actions. Number 6. A handsome young man in royal clothes standing where the fox used to be, smiling at the young prince. Explanation. The phrase, where the fox used to be, is a useful grammatical construction to describe a location based on a previous state or a change that has occurred. Number 7. The young prince sneaking past sleeping medieval soldiers inside a grand stone castle hall. Explanation. The verb sneaking, combined with the preposition past, is excellent for describing stealthy movement, often used in narrative and storytelling contexts. Number 8. The second older brother walking towards the bright and loud inn, ignoring the dark and quiet inn next to it. Explanation. This sentence effectively uses contrast, bright/loud versus dark/quiet, and the participle ignoring to highlight a character's choice and its significance. Number 9. The talking fox whispering secrets to the young prince under the moonlight. Explanation. This sentence captures a sense of mystery and atmosphere through the verb whispering and the prepositional phrase under the moonlight. Number 10. Two wicked older brothers pushing the young prince backward into a deep, dark stone well. Explanation. This sentence shows the use of a directional adverb, backward, and a chain of adjectives to describe a specific and dramatic physical interaction.